Alright guys, it is me, El Trader Goof, coming at you with another weekly watch list of a couple things that I will be looking at this week, right? We heard about what happened on Saturday evening, US bombing, Iran, nuclear, buildings, etc., right? So going into the new week, I know a lot of us will be expecting some type of red going into the markets Monday slash this evening at 6 p.m. once the future markets opens. So of course, with that being said, guys, disclaimer: I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a professional or anything like that. These are just going to be ideas, some type of thoughts, things that I've been looking at going into this week. So always do your own DD. These are not buy signals, sell signals, anything like that. Um, so let's go ahead and dive right up into it. So as you guys can see, first one that I have here pulled up is going to be Oxy, right? Oxy, of course, this is one thing that I'm watching because of the whole thing that's been going on over the weekend, right? So Oxy, as most of you guys know, petroleum company, right? Being with gas, energy sector, whatever. So, first things first that I've noticed here on the daily time frame is that we have been in a nice little uptrend, right? We can see uptrend, pull back, then we continue to go up higher, right? So we're sort of making these higher highs, higher lows, right? So going into Monday, of course, that's one thing that we're watching, right? We can see here based off last week we held roughly these 44, 45s, right? Nice little area of supports last week, right? So going into this week, we want to see us hold these 45s slash 46s, right? That's why I have that red line there because that's an area that I'm looking for us to basically hold into here, right? Now, look at the bigger picture on the daily time frame, right? Daily time frame, we can see we are attempting to break out of this downtrend based off this high that we had all the way back last year in April, right? So from that downtrend, we can sort of see how now we are sort of starting to see momentum come in, buyers sort of start to come in and push up here higher. So question going into this week is, will we be able to get back above into or start to trade into these 200 EMAs, right? We want to see a nice little push above that, right? With another thing being said, we can see these small little gaps here, right? So let's go ahead and draw this one here. So this low from here is going to be 80, no, not 80, 48.34, right? So 88, 48.34. Okay, so let's go ahead, 38.34. And we can sort of see how this is going to sort of align with what we're looking for going into this week, right? So that right there, that small little gap here, we were gonna want to see that act as a magnet to the upside, right? So that's one thing that we're gonna be watching is, okay, can that gap here act as a magnet for us buyers or buyers overall to be able to push above into this 200 EMA, fill this up, and start to continue push up higher, right? So going into our hourly time frame, we can see as well, right? Sort of creating here a nice little bullish pendant, right? We can see based off this pop up, this created a gap, right? That gap has now been filled and respecting this area, right? So we know these 44 slash 45s, this is a nice little area where it's being respected, right? Going forward, what can you see? Still trending up nicely, right? So that's something that we want to see. Will all these things that we have drawn up here be able to give us that trade opportunity with the whole news that's happening, right? So we have the news, we have this pendant, possibly we have the gap up, right? Trying to break out of the downtrend. So all these things are going to be something that we're going to be watching here going into this week on Oxy, right? We want to see that build up. And we want to see hopefully test into these 50s going into these 3, right? So worst case scenario, if we do start to break below those 45s, 44s area, that's when I would basically start to look for shorts if given, right? Nothing too big, just see nice see little pullback probably into these 44, 43s if given, right? We want to see us stay above that 200 EMA on that hourly time frame is going to be one main thing. Now, next one that we're going to be looking at is Chevron Corp, right? We all know Chevron. And one thing that we can see here on this daily time frame, right? What can we see? we can see how those 130s, right? We can see, boom, 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 right? Those 130s is a nice little area of support being respected, right? So, because ever since we hit that 130, what can we see? We can see buyers just basically held this up, right? Just not much selling going on with the whole news. Same thing. I'm expecting these companies to sort of maybe give us a nice little pop if given, right? So here on Chevron, we can see two small little gap subs that we need to fill, right? So, but another thing that we can also see on the daily time frame is that Chevron here, on the other hand, is trading above that 200 EMA, right? We're trading above that 200 EMA, that 5 EMA, 20 EMA. So we're above all my indicators here. And with that being said, nice little strong uptrend, right? So will all these things be able to give us that opportunity to be able to bank on some plays, some trades here to the upside to see if we can start to fill both of these gaps, right? So initially, that's something that we're going to be looking at for Chevron. If we look at the hourly time frame here, just look at the hourly time frame, how we are holding above that 200 EMA, respecting that 20 EMA, riding that 5 EMA as well, right? Nice little strong uptrend. And we can see here these 150s is being a nice little area of slight resistance, right? Just having some slight trouble here, trying to break above and start to fill into that gap, right? So that's something that we're going to be watching here on that hourly time frame, is that we want to see roughly break above this 150 150.17/20s area to sort of give us that momentum to get buyers and start to push up higher. Because if we do start to break above that 150/20s area, next area that we want to see is break above these 150.40s, and that's when we would possibly start to see that gap fill to the upside, right? So worst case scenario, if we do start to see sellers come in, right, we want to see us basically break below this 147.60s and sort of start to go ahead and start to test more lows, right? So we're going to be looking for 1 point moves to the downside if we do. So if we do break below that 147.60s, next we're looking at is roughly these 146.50s, right? And break below that, we're looking for roughly these 145.50s, etc. So next one that we're gonna go ahead and dive into is going to be Tesla. Tesla, haven't really looked at it as much, but overall the daily time frame is looking very good. You know, it's looking for good put call scenario, whatever is given here going into this week with the news, right? We can see just in the past 1, 2, 3, 4, so in the past roughly 7 to 8 days, we have just been in this range of roughly these 317s, not these 317s, these 310/311s, and all the way up into these 334s, 335s, right? So we're Tesla's been roughly trading in that 20-25 point range overall. So same thing with the news. With Tesla, I won't be surprised if we do start to see a move to the downside. Then again, anything is possible. We can go either up. You know, with the markets, sometimes good news is bad for the market. Sometimes bad news is good for the market. You know, so that's something to basically watch out for you going into this week as well. But overall, a lot of people will be looking to be um, in some type of either short or puts. Just overall looking for markets to have a discount price to be able to go for long term, right? So overall here, let's go ahead and dive into this hourly time frame for Tesla. Overall, I'm looking at hourly time frames to be able to play these call or puts areas, right? So here, hourly time frame, we can see trading below that 200 EMA, right? So if that being said, if we are trading below that 200 EMA, right, and if we do start to break below these 319s, 50/60s, that's an area that I'm gonna be looking at to short here, just to go ahead lower, right? So we do break below that. Next area that I will be looking at is roughly these 317/90s. Break below that, then we're gonna be just looking to go more lower into this 314/50s, then 312/90s, right? Now, if we do start to break to the upside, one thing that we're watching is we want to see us break above that 200 EMA and then start to break above this 325/326 to target roughly this liquidity wick. right here off Friday. Now, worst case, and if we do get buyers and push above that 332.80s, then you want to be here looking for a move up into those 335s, 336s here on Tesla. Now, last one that I'm gonna be watching as well is going to be HIMS. HIMS, we have been banking on HIMS for a while. From these low 20s, low 20s, low 30s, we have been banking on it. And overall, daily time frame, what can we see? So, from my perspective, right, this is my idea. This looks just like a big cup and handle ready to pop and go test that all-time high of 72.98. Now, mind you, if we do start to break above this little area here where we're seeing that resistance, right? Look at this hourly time frame. Not this hourly time frame, daily time frame. Roughly these 65, 66s up to those 67s is acting as a nice little area of resistance. So, let's go ahead into our hourly time frame. Hourly time frame, what can we see? Nice little pop, right? We're just trading above that 200 EMA. Nice little strong uptrend for the past 4 days, right? So here going into Monday, one thing that we're looking at is can we break above that 65, right? If we do start to break above that 65, we want to target that 65.81, right? So let's go ahead here. Right? That's 65.81, right? Is what we're targeting there. If we do start to break above that 65. Now, if we do start to break above that and all that, next area we want to see is, of course, test this high of 67.37, sorry, is what we'll be looking at to test if we do start to break above that 65.80s here, guys. So overall, this is looking like it does want to pop, even on the weekly time frame. Look at here. This area of roughly these 51s is holding up nicely as an area of support here, right? So as long as we can hold above that, we're looking for a nice little pop here, and it might get it going into this week despite all these news. Look at this. All these things might be something that might be factoring in for HIMS to continue higher. I'm not saying that the whole Iran thing is factoring into this. I'm saying that overall, based off TA, technical analysis on charts and what I'm seeing here, looks like HIMS is ready to pop up and possibly test that high over here of that 73s, roughly we can say, because just by 2 points off, it's, those 73s is going to be a nice area that we might test. And if we do get a break above that 65, that is an area where I will be looking at, for me personally, to get into some calls, maybe even some long-term calls, because in my opinion, I do believe HIMS is going to be a long-term company. This, I won't be surprised if by the end of the year we do see triple digits on this company. This company has been growing massively. If you look at their financials there and all this, always look into that, and that will show you what this company is doing. So overall, I'm expecting a pop here for HIMS going into this week. But of course, if we do not get that pop, we're looking at for us to break below that 62.50s for shorts to the downside. And of course, with that being said here, guys, I hope that these couple ideas that I'm giving you will help you bank going on to this week. And as always, like, subscribe, leave a comment, leave any review that you guys want to see more in the future. And as always, guys, stay blessed from the Alpha team.